Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Hopelessly Gifted podcast. I am very excited about today's guest because I feel like if you get the same energy from him that I do, you're going to love it. You're going to have fun. You're going to learn some stuff. I think this is going to be great. So, um, our guest today has a really cool social media presence, Instagram presence called I Spy Antiques, EYE, not just the letter I. And it is a riot. It's super fun. And what I love about it more than anything is you get to see a person really enjoying life, being themselves, expressing real aspects of who they are. And really, that's where I wanted to keep the conversation today. Because for a lot of gifted people out there, they struggle with the idea of what's it like to really be me and to express that aspect of myself and what happens when I do it and maybe people aren't ready for it. And I think our guest might have some insight into that. So without further ado, let me give a quick introduction here. Now I'm going to give you a little caveat here. Our guest wrote this intro.
Mark, no, you wrote it.
Oh yeah, and I. So it's going to be as awesome as you'll see in just a moment. Okay, here we go. Marco Braun was born in the year of our Lord and Savior Taylor Swift, 1989. And to double his good fortune, he was born on the most perfect date, April 25th. It's not too cold, it's not too hot. All you need is a light jacket. With a birth date like that and the homosexual audacity that leads Marco to believe he possesses any and all required skills to complete whatever project he sets his mind to, despite having no previous experience in that particular craft, Marco always knew he was destined to share his life with the world and eat disgusting vintage Jell-O on the internet. Welcome, Marco.
Bom, bom, ba-da! Thank you, Mark. I can't believe you wrote that about me, and you did such research to find out my birth date. Wow.
I really went in deep on this one because I wanted to be professional in every aspect of this. So yeah, I love it.
I also appreciate you spelling out EYE for I Spy. I'm not trying to get sued by those children's books.
Oh, that's right. The I Spy books. I like
That's
it. Yeah, a
goal.
little. Well, we'll keep the lawyers off of this. I don't think we have any listening, anyways. So, all right, Marco. Before we jump too far into it, tell us a little bit about your Instagram, what you do, how fun it is. I don't know, whatever comes up to you. People want to hear about it.
My Instagram, my social media.
Your socials.
During the pandemic, I quit my job. Like a lot of other people, I was doing a new role and it was a lot of work, and it was like a year into this new role, and I was like, can I get a raise? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I quit by 2 weeks in, and no, they said to me, you should be happy you have a job. And I was like, oh, you should be happy you have me. And so I left and spent about a month or two just like drowning in my own self-pity, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I always had an attraction to antiques, and I thought, I'm going to start a business. And so then I started a business, and I was selling things online. There's this whole community of online sellers. So if you really want to dig deep, people, go for it, but we'll leave it at that. But there's a huge community of wonderful people. And then I was just trying to start new content, and then I made some Jell-O and gagged over it, and the rest is kind of history. And now I just make kind of silly videos on the internet, making Jell-O, going places, doing things, sharing my life a little with the world.
Oh, I love it. It again, that there's a little bit of bravery in what you're doing to go out there and just put it out there. So I got to get a sense of like, maybe this is just you as a person, but how do you feel like I'm okay doing this and I'm not going to think about, what other people, whether they like it or not, I just want to do what I want to do. What does it take to get to that stage for you?
I used to think it was bravery, and then I watched a TikTok literally this week that said it's a trauma response to like jump around things, move new places at a spur of the hat. And I guess so, maybe, but I don't know. I think it always, I grew up in Lake Zurich, if you're familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Like 45 minutes northwest of the Chicago. And, it was just a small town, and it was a lovely town to grow up in. But being as fabulous as I was, it couldn't hold me back. And so I think as soon as I got the opportunity to leave, I ran and I went to New York City. And so I think just doing that as my first step felt really daring. And I remember weirdly not being scared of it, even though it was like this huge dramatic change. And I think just ever since then, I'm kind of maybe craving that feeling of like something new, something exciting. And like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You can fail. Who cares?
Okay,
You know?
so you have this sense of like, not only am I into doing this, it's like I kind of need it a little bit. Like I kind of need
Yeah.
that in my life a little bit. Okay, I
Yeah,
gotcha.
and like I said, if you fail, you fail. Like, unfortunately, we're all gonna die one day, and I don't think anyone's gonna be sitting on my deathbed saying, "Remember when you failed?" No.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, but there's a part where, do you ever get that sense of, I want this to go well, and what if it doesn't? Have you ever had that even when you were younger?
um, no.
That's cool.
I think I've
I love
always
it.
just, I think I just, yeah. There's fear. There's fear. I'd be lying to you if there wasn't fear. But I think I've also kind of set myself up with like even just like pure things like when I used to do theater, like I want the part, but if I don't get it, I don't get it. Like I can't choose my own fate, and so like why am I gonna like allow hang up on something that I have no control over?
So this, I mean, this is what I love to hear from people, because that is exactly the mindset you need to be in to make things happen. And I think even just people walking away with the idea that you got to break it, you got to get there somehow, however you get there, whether it comes naturally or whether you work towards it. But was this any different from like the rest of your family growing up? Was this like a different way of being, or were your parents just like this as well?
I think totally different than everyone else in my family.
Oh,
You know,
interesting.
my sister lives a block and a half from my parents, you know, so she did not move far. My brother is only like in Arlington Heights, you know. I think I was also the youngest.
Mm,
And
me
so I
too.
think I was just a little, oh, perfect Mark.
I
Both
know.
have Marks. We're both Marks, and and we're the youngest.
I know.
Perfect. A
We're
love
exactly
story.
alike. Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, I just don't think. I don't know. I think I always just felt braver than my siblings, and I
Yeah.
don't know if I had to do that because I was the youngest, and I felt this need to like prove things. I don't know.
Hmm.
And maybe we'll
So
dive into it deeper later. But like, yeah, I also want to get to know. I feel like I sound very confident, but I had many years of struggles to get to here.
what? Well, right. I mean, that's what everybody's got to know, right? It doesn't just come out of nowhere. So, without going too deep in here, we're not going to unpack that trauma response too much. But the idea of what you had to struggle through to get where you're at, what comes up for you first?
Oh boy, I think definitely bullying
Yeah.
and my sexuality for
Hmm.
sure, and just the craving and wanting for to be loved, not
Hmm.
only by like friends but by a person as well. And it's not like I didn't have love. Like my mother was the most smothering mother in the best way possible. So it wasn't I wasn't getting love, but there was just something more I was craving, and the friendship one was a big one for me, especially wanting friends.
The friendship one being, it was something you were looking for, but it didn't feel like you were getting what you needed.
Yeah, I just I had in from like kindergarten until seventh grade, I was very inward, and especially at school.
Hmm.
And it took me a long time to like kind of come out of that shell and make friends. And like I had friends, but I never had a lot of friends. I always had like two or three. And some people have none. So I'm going to count my blessings that I had at least a few friends. And I'm still
Right.
friends with those people to this day, which that's crazy. And so when I started to come out of my shell more, I realized I could make friends. And having these friendships felt so special to me. I feel it felt so important because it was something I always wanted and craved and never got. And so getting it was just like a drug.
What do you think was the difference? What was you in your shell rather versus you not in your shell? What shifted? What changed? What awareness came about for you, do you think?
I think it was LOL, I'm gay, theater. It was the first time uh I did theater like when I was younger, but it was like the first time I had like a big role, and it was like a comedy role.
Hmm.
And I had no idea I was funny, and I had no idea that I could be engaging. And through that, I realized I had this like superpower that I could put on the stage and off the stage. And I realized that like being outward and expressing joy and putting your energy out in the world attracts people to you.
Hmm.
And it felt like a superpower that I never knew I had.
So, what would you say to somebody that says, "I get what you're saying intellectually, Marco, but I just can't do that. I don't." Do you think there are people that just literally can't do that, or they got to find their own way? What do you think that is for
I
them?
would say I'd say everyone has their own way of expressing outwardly. You don't you don't have to be me, dancing on the internet eating jello,
But you
but
could be.
you could be dreams do come true. And but you could be, even if you do have that small group of friends, how are you that person in that small group of friends who makes it a point to bring a good energy when you're together, to make a point to like connect deeply? And I think it can be applied in a small way in that sense, or you can just go for the world and conquer it. And I
Oh, I
think
love
both
that.
are brave and I think both are important.
Right. So, for a lot of these, parents out there, one of their biggest struggles with their kids is my kid can't seem to connect. They can't seem to make friends, or, yeah, they're experiencing bullying or some sort of place where they're feeling ostracized or disenfranchised from, the normative of school. Um, and I think a lot of people would tell them, like, well, you have to be yourself. You have to, focus on what you do have, kind of like what you're saying. Um, and I think the biggest thing is how do you go about maybe finding your people? Now, for you, it might have just been a pull to theater, and theater happened to
Mhm.
have a lot of the people that was there. But what do you think it takes, even as we get older in life, to like find your people and find the people that meet you where you are?
I think again, we're coming back to failing. You have to
Mm.
just try everything, and it's okay to fail it. My parents, I hated sports, and they put me in every single sport. It was horrible. And their rule was you can do the sport, you just have to give it 1 month and
Hmm.
see if you like it. And so I tried every sport. And then I was in Boy Scouts, and I absolutely hated being outdoors. And finally, one
Same.
day, someone was like, "Has he tried theater?" And I was like, "Ah, ah." So I think it's just trying different things, no matter what it is. And I think not limiting it to sports, theater. It could be someone who loves gaming, and to you,
Yeah.
you're like, why are you gaming so much? No, like that's a community that they're building, and that down the line could go into coding, which is a huge great career. But you have to try everything, and no matter what you try, it's wonderful.
Right. Okay. So, right. Not feeling afraid, trying it to see what fits, right? Because it sounds like the criteria that a lot of people get into is they're trying it and then they evaluate themselves on whether it, I don't know, produce a certain result or whether they were good at it. But you're saying try it to see if it's you or if it's not you.
Yeah, you have to see if it fits right. And sometimes you try things for a very long time and you think it's your passion, but it's not. And that's okay
Hmm.
too. It will eventually lead you to the right place. But, you have to try something. If you're not, you're just sitting at home twiddling your thumbs.
Oh, I love it, Marco. You're preaching. All right, now I got to go to the place where I'm like, what are you afraid of, Marco? What's the thing you're not willing to do? What's the thing that maybe you deep down are still thinking about doing, but maybe scares you even just a little bit?
Scares me a little bit. Is it horrible? My first thought was death. like,
We can
oh
go there if
God.
you want.
No, I don't want to go there. I'm not ready for that today. I need a cocktail. I need a cocktail. What scares me? Well, I think sometimes I think sometimes having like I can be a little bit of a perfectionist,
Okay.
and I think that kind of fears me a little bit because sometimes I can be so lost in trying to make great everything that when I do succeed, sometimes I don't realize I'm succeeding
Mm,
because my my goal or my own self-worth I've put so high that if I
mm,
don't meet that expectation every time, it feels like a failure. But I have to remind myself that there are so many climbs up to that, and I might not hit the top every time, but there's so many things to celebrate and so many accomplishments along the way to quote unquote perfect. So I
oh,
think
yeah.
that fears me. I think I'm fearful of losing, like I think talking earlier, like losing friends and not
Mm,
having a community. I think I think sometimes I can even be fearful on the internet of people's judgments of me. And, I think everyone has their own inner saboteur, and it can affect you. And I think, yeah, sometimes the internet can get to me, and it's very hard not to allow it.
right. Well, again, when you put yourself in a public space like that, that's a very difficult thing to manage of what people's reactions are. And I'm sure 99% of the time it, rolls off your back, no big deal. But there might be something every once in a while that kind of sticks with you and maybe hits you where you live, I would imagine.
Oh, for sure, for sure. when I was before doing what I'm currently doing, I just kind of had a TikTok for fun of just my own life and didn't like
Hmm.
really try to make anything of it. And it kind of got big and it was really exciting. And then I had some videos that went onto like the wrong side of TikTok,
The
and
other
people like
side, yeah.
attacked me and like sent me death threats, all these crazy things. And so I think that was also a big like wake up call to what else is out there. I think that idea of putting yourself out there allows people to criticize you. And I
Right.
think it took me a long time to be okay with that criticism. Like, who cares? Like,
Well,
whatever.
well, it's funny because like death threats, who cares? No big deal, right? But I think.
As Samantha from Sex and the City says, all PR is good PR,
Right.
even the death threats.
But I mean, there is a part of you that was able to maybe go through that experience, and I'm sure it rattled you to a degree.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
but make sure that you're like, but it's not going to stifle who I am and what I'm trying to do here, and I'm going to keep moving.
Yeah.
Um, when you're finding yourself, maybe, I don't know, do you ever feel like you question, like, ah, do I even want to keep doing this? Like, does that ever happen?
Do I ever? Does that ever happen? Wow. Um, yeah, I think self doubt happens for everybody.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think for sure. How do I come around that though is the better question, I guess.
Hmm.
How do I stop myself from that? Well, I have something kind of lame. I don't think it's lame. Why am I saying that? It's not lame. I do it. I love it.
Good.
I'm really revealing things that are kind of maybe potentially crazy. I have 4 daily alarms that go
Okay.
off at 9 a.m., noon, 5 and 9. Anyways, some of that doesn't matter. I have 4 alarms that go off every day, and it plays Chapel Roan, and it just says be kind to yourself, and it's just a
Oh,
lovely reminder throughout the day, for when those negative thoughts can come in, to snap out of it. You're letting your inner demons win, and that's okay. We're going to allow that to happen, but we're going to move past those. It's not worth our time.
I have to highlight what you're saying because no, first of all, it's not crazy at all. What you're talking about, I think, is the real life what it takes for people. Like it doesn't matter what it takes or what it looks like or how many alarms you set. Having a process to bolster yourself, to remind yourself, to keep yourself grounded to that touchstone of why I'm doing what I'm doing and finding that area where you may be most vulnerable of like maybe I stop being kind to myself if I don't consciously remember. That's
Yeah.
huge, and people need to understand, like I feel like a lot of people don't feel free enough to do something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's just this idea like, oh, that would be silly, or if somebody saw my alarm was going off and telling me to be kind and Chapel Roan was just cranking, that they'd ask me
Well,
why
look
am
at
I
me.
that happy.
I like pooped my pants trying to tell you about it. So, like, no wonder people would feel that way. I felt it.
Right. But now you're saying what it really takes on some level, and that, people might feel free to use that or something else that might work for them.
Yeah,
So,
I think you've got to like finding what you're supposed to be doing and where you belong. It's the same thing. You got to
right.
find what skills in your toolbox are the ones that work. Like, I'm not about like I love people who meditate, but I could never meditate. I could
Right.
never. My mind is moving too quick to slow down.
Right. It's I
But
know.
it works for
I
some people.
I love the idea of it, and I feel like I could maybe do it if I, really was okay with my mind going 100 miles an hour. But yeah, I don't know. It's just what works for people. And then there's this piece though that I think where maybe if we silence our own self-critic and we have a way of keeping ourselves centered, what happens when the people that are closest to us tend to shoot down the idea of how we want to be and how we want to fit in?
I don't think those people need to be in your life.
Well, what if it's not an option? What if it's a mom and a dad? Now, you might not have had that experience, but
Well,
what then?
if it's a mom and dad, you just count those days until you are 18 and you get out of there. I moved to New York City.
I
I
mean,
think
now, yeah, go ahead.
I think it took my for example, I think it definitely took my parents a little bit of time to come around to me being gay,
There you go.
and uh I think Catholicism had an issue in there, and just the where they're from, of the decade they're from, and so there's all that understanding, and so I think there was naturally a me stepping away a little from them and giving
Hmm.
that space for them to heal and figure out what they need to figure out, and for me to explore my life without being held down. And I
Hmm.
don't think there's anything wrong in that. You don't have to cut people out completely, but you sometimes have to, yeah, set a boundary, set a boundary. And I set a boundary. And I think they saw the space between us because of that. And I think that really made them realize my worth and that, I was the same
Wow.
person my whole life that they had. And so I think setting boundaries. So if you are living with somebody who's not understanding, it just takes some time. You'll get away from it and you can come back if you need to.
I
But
love
there's
that.
nothing
That's
wrong with going away.
no.
RuPaul Charles has a great quote. God, I'm going to screw it up. Hold on. Give me a second. Editor, make this sound better and more concise. Uh, as Galen, I'm going to hold on. Let me give me a second, Mark, to think of it.
Take it.
I got to look it up. It's going to
Yeah,
bother
look
me.
it up. Yeah.
It's going to bother me. I have half of it. Quote about family. Okay. Okay, this quote is from RuPaul, and I always has stood very close to me, and I think it's something wonderful about the gay community, and I also think it's wonderful about many communities. You can apply it easily. We as gay people, we get to choose our family. We get to choose the people we are around. And I think so many times in the gay community, we can be ostracized by our family and our friends that sometimes it can feel very lonely. And so you get this wonderful opportunity to find other like minded people who might have been hurt or scarred, and you can build a family together. And I always think, like, I have my family. I have a beautiful, huge Italian family, but I have a giant family within my own life that is filled with my friends. And it feels like it's the same thing to me of when I think about
Right.
family.
Oh, absolutely. The idea that um, it can. It's not. This is. I think I got this from Karamo from Queer Eye because he's amazing. But he said something along the lines of, "It's not coming out; it's deciding who you let in." Right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's your choice to see who has the privilege of being connected with you and getting to know you in a real sense. And that's how you start to overcome this idea that you don't belong. You realize, hold on, it's the kind of relationships that I need. Is what I'm trying to seek out and trying to create. And I think for like you and I who are grown to be able to understand that and apply it is pretty huge. What about like younger Marco? What about Marco who didn't maybe have that as an option or didn't even understand the concept of boundaries around that time? What was that like?
Will you say that question again, Mark?
Sorry, the question is having those boundaries and being able to choose as you're older is a lot more easy to apply, even though it's not easy. But what about when you don't really have that choice? You don't feel like you have that choice when you're younger. What's it like for you then?
I think thinking back on my younger years, I think I accomplished that still in the same way of like, I still created a community around me. I still brought in my own friends and chose who I want to be around and who gets to be around me, understanding that there was still people who were stuck in my life because of my age that I couldn't get out, but knowing that one day I will. I know that the phrase is so cheesy, it gets better, but like it's so true. It's so true, but it takes a long time to get better, but you get there, you know. So I
Yeah,
don't know if that was the
absolutely.
best response, but it feels
No,
okay.
well, it was perfect. I mean, the reality is, I was kind of setting it up this way where, no matter what age you are, there's a lot of people that be like, well, I can't do what Marco does. There's no way for me to do that. My situation is different. My situation has this,
Yeah.
and this roadblock into it. When the reality is, not necessarily. You still have to create what you're trying to create. You still have to build what you're trying to build, what fits you and what you need. Now, a lot
Yeah.
of kids maybe don't have the conscious awareness to like say this is what I want. I feel like a lot of kids probably that I work with at least take this I'll take what I can get kind of mentality
Hmm.
like, oh, table scraps, that's good enough for me. What would you want to say to these kids or these even adults that might be still in this dynamic?
Well, I like, how do you, I think it's how do you take those, those cooking shows where they take
Yeah.
like leftovers and they turn it into a new meal? It's
Yeah.
kind of the same concept. You got to take what crumbs you're given, and how can you turn those crumbs into a 4-course meal for yourself. And whether that's expressing your pain or your struggles through music, through cooking, through art, whatever you want to express it through, I think is a great way, especially for me, how it felt to turn those
Hmm.
crumbs into my 4-course meal.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's truly, it's almost like, I don't want to say it. There's like zero sense of victimhood about you.
Well, don't get me wrong. I think I had. Hold on. I think there were a few cloudy years, a few dark years in my 20s, where yeah, where I think I definitely not necessarily victimed, but uh, struggled
Okay.
more
Yeah, I like
so.
it.
And I think not loving myself as much as I could. And
Mm.
because of that, I think I hurt a lot of people in ways. I hurt some friendships, hurt some relationships, and I think that was part of me going back to the beginning of just trying new things and jumping at the opportunity for anything. And so I think sometimes that could have hurt people, or I might not have fully thought about how others are thinking. So I think it took me a long time to fully grow
Hmm.
into empathy more. And I think I always had empathy for people, but I think it was a little more self centered at the start until it took me a little time to realize that like we're all on this little bubble and we're all trying to figure it out. And something that was really big for me one day was when I realized my parents were human, and I saw my dad cry for the first time, and I thought, oh my god, my dad's crying. That's so weird. And it was like this weird like opening up of like, oh, he's experiencing life for the first time like I am.
Wow.
Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to be a dad. Like he's figuring it out too. And so I think that gave me a little bit of forgiveness to not only my family, but to everyone in my life, of just
Right.
kind of having this respect of like, we're all just figuring it out.
Absolutely. I I got like a million thoughts here, but one is, does your dad know that he had that effect on you with that moment?
No, probably not. But my dad also probably doesn't know that my mom had a harder time with me coming out of the closet.
Mm.
And I technically never told him it went so poorly with my mother,
Oh, with your mom? Interesting. Okay.
that I kind of was like, she'll tell him. And then I moved to New York City 2 weeks later, and I was like,
It'll get
figure
to
it
it.
out. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
And so, but I always appreciated the fact that he, in those moments, though I knew he was struggling with it, took the role of supportive parent, realizing he had to be that for me,
Right.
even though it might be hard for him. And so I've always appreciated him in that sense. He's always shown me that he's human, and I appreciate that.
There's a part of you that, when you're talking about, like, when you see what a lot of people would consider imperfections, like, well, he didn't do it the right way, or that he should have been more open and expressive about it, but you're like, he's doing the best he can, and this is
Well,
what he's got, and this is what I see with him. I think that's pretty incredible. And even
I think
looking at yourself in your 20s and going through that struggle, there's a part of me that's like, you never gave up on those. I mean, you can always revisit those relationships. You can always go back. You can always get what you need first and then head back. But I think I interrupted you. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of the time you can see. I think a lot of the times I experience such hatred and such anger thrown at me, and I just feeling that was so hard, that I think when I saw other people just being hurt or other people showing emotion, it's it was just easier for me to understand and not judge you. Like
Mm,
we're all feeling this way in some way. And so I
right.
think it was by people hurting me, it was made me allowed me to accept people for themselves too.
In some level, you saw something beyond the words, the outward appearance of what they were saying, and you saw the pain underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not easy to do.
Because we all have it. We all
oh,
have it. No
oh,
one's
we all
life
got
is
pain.
no one's
Yeah,
life is honky dory.
yeah. And
Who's
I'm
honky dory? Sorry. Do you watch the Housewives? No? Okay, never mind.
no, but
Don't worry
somebody's gonna
about it.
get that, and they're gonna love it.
Yeah, some
And
mom is
so
gonna love it.
hold on, I'm gonna take a pause because I got to get my thought. We were just talking about, oh, we all have pain. Yeah. And the other thing is I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but sometimes it feels like a lot of people, again, in the gifted community, we're dealing with a lot of people that are highly sensitive. They have big feelings, big emotions, and not always the neurological capability to regulate it all the time. And I think a lot of that comes with feeling like they need to be a part of the pain Olympics, where their pain is more than others. And that's why they don't need to still figure out these things that you're saying of building what you need. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. Everybody takes their own time and they're on their own journey in their own way. But I think the reality is when you can start to recognize that comparing pain is pretty useless of an endeavor when you just realize we all have it. Whether it's, somebody that just put a dent in their new Bentley and they're upset about it, or somebody that's really struggling with a loss in life,
Yeah.
it's still pain to some degree. I don't know. What do you think
I
about
think
that?
I think what flashes in my mind first is thinking about the fact of I think there was times in my life where I wanted to experience more pain and uh I wanted that. And I think it was just and so I kind of put myself sometimes in these crazy situations where I wouldn't think beforehand, where I was just like, I'm a fun person off the cuff. Let's go do it, and I think I opened myself up to some more pain and not realizing that there was probably a younger part of me that was just looking to be comforted,
Hmm.
looking to be a little healed, and thinking that if I had more pain, maybe someone will be able to comfort me more and love me and take care of me. And I think after so many years of trying to hurt myself, I finally realized that nobody's gonna nobody's gonna heal me or hug me or fix me unless I do it myself first. You
Wow.
know, so yeah.
That's a
RuPaul
big
says
deal.
it. If you're, how the hell are you gonna love somebody if you can't love yourself?
It's true. It's that first, foundational piece of understanding yourself. But I do feel like your journey is one I relate to for sure, where I was looking for whatever attention, comfort, like just somebody seeing me as great and awesome. Um, but I never took the time to see myself that way. I never built up
Mhm.
what I thought in my head would make me more feel that way in a valid way. And then it comes from outside as well. So, to me, it seems like you've certainly shifted from that way of thinking to something very different now.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
And I'm glad. My God,
Oh, thank God.
could you
I
imagine?
know. No, I know.
Still going? No.
Uh-huh. So, as we're starting to wrap up here a little bit, tell me a little bit about what's in the future for you. What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to?
Also, time out. Hope you know that I do have more time. I know I was a little late with the
Oh,
microphone issue, so don't feel like you have to rush either.
no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not rushing at all.
Okay, great, great,
My
great.
my producers like keep it to like between 30 and 45 and
Gorgeous,
things like
gorgeous.
that.
Want to
But
make sure.
yeah,
Ask the question again.
okay. Um, and maybe I don't want to wrap up with you. Okay, look. So, Marco, as we're talking, you and I having a pretty deeper conversation. Can you tell me what you're becoming more aware of for yourself?
In this current moment,
Sure.
what am I aware of currently in this moment? I think I thought I know we didn't delve too deep into it just because it's a lot, but I think I'm just thinking about some of my past friendships and relationships that I might have hurt in my
Mm.
own quest to be loved. And so, I think it makes me think about just those people and is it worth reaching out and healing that relationship? Is it worth reaching out just to apologize? Does it deserve? Does it need an apology? I think that's kind of where my brain is at the moment.
Hmm. And so if
And
I were to say to you, yes, D, all of the above.
I think I would do it. I think I would
Hmm.
do it confidently. Well, I don't know. We've all gotten that like email from an ex that's like, oh, I felt this way. I don't want to be like that guy coming into everyone's DMs.
No,
But
no,
one
there.
time I did run into a bully once in Arizona, and we were at a bar and he just like cried to me, and I wanted to be like, okay, I forgive you, please just go. Like I don't want to be that guy that's like sliding into people's DMs. I haven't hurt that
Right.
many people, but
Well, in the idea of it's who is it for, right? Is it like I
Yeah.
need to feel better, and so it's all about me, which probably is not what you need, and it's more like what's the real intention behind it? Why go back to those relationships at all? Because again, I think there's a lot of people that are listening here that can think of a relationship where maybe it didn't go the way they wanted, or they let it wither, or they actually did something that was harmful, whatever it is, and they have that question. If I do I go back, and how do I do it? And but for me it starts with like what would the intention be?
Yeah. I think also like is it gonna is it gonna hold on, what am I trying to say? Is the energy that you're putting back into that relationship, is it gonna just bring up harmful, hateful things that like this person has healed and moved on from? So like why bring it back if they have a beautiful life that is having joy? Like why come back in as a little rain cloud? you know?
Well, that's
And so
one
I guess you
option.
kind of have to look at their life, and is their life needing of my healing? And no, I don't know. You have to. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Well,
one.
it's complicated because on some level it's like for if a person from my past who maybe we had a real rocky thing with, and I could think of a dozen, came back and they wanted to approach me in like a hey, this happened, and I want to talk about it. Um, I have a feeling that if I had a really negative reaction to them, on some level, it's because I haven't really dealt with it. I'm not like okay with it, or on some level,
Yeah,
or I don't know. It feels like in an ideal, perfect world, we're able to integrate all that past and still find a way to fit it in a way that makes sense, with the present and the future.
yeah. I think sometimes too, it's like maybe it's not even reaching out to heal the relationship necessarily through an apology, uh, but reaching out to just say, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're well. I always appreciated our time together. And, you're sending your love, but you're leaving the door slightly a crack if they want to come back in for a little. And I find myself doing that more recently these days. And, you run into people and you see them after a long time. You're like, oh, okay, I really did love you and I really did enjoy you.
Yeah. See, I like that. I think that's really what it's about then. It's not about we have to fix something or resolve something, or I have to take it on as my responsibility or their responsibility, but just this idea that you still matter to me. Or even I'm remembering when we still matter to each other, and that means
Yeah.
something still. I like it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. Everybody needs to do that. That's your homework. Go find somebody, send that text. And if it goes poorly, don't bring it up to me. All right. So, um, yeah, I gotta say, Marco, it, you're saying a lot of these things that I would probably bet that a lot of the kids that I work with and adults that I work with would really want to challenge you. They'd want to say that I couldn't do it, it wouldn't work for me. And not that you would need to fix that or anything, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious how that affects you, or what that feels like to know that there'd be people out there that's like, well, Marco's just Marco, and that's why it's okay, and he can make it happen, but I can't.
Well, does it sound harsh that it's like you can feel that way? And if you don't want to at least try, then that's on you.
Yeah.
But I encourage you to give it a small little bat at it, see how it goes. Try it on a very low stakes situation.
Right.
And I'm not asking you to change the world, but come out a little bit of your closet. No, not
Oh.
that. Come out of your shell. Come out of your shell. Come out of your shell a little bit. Also, come out of the closet if you want. Go for it.
If you want to, go for it.
Go for it.
You're
But come out of your
I,
shell a little bit.
I just from a like a therapist perspective, what you just did was you handled what would be called a projection perfectly. Because if somebody puts it on you that, oh, the way you're talking about it wouldn't work for me, it's a projection of their own struggle with exactly what you're bringing up for them, which is there's a way out, there's a way forward. And I just think it was so kind of you to be like, I'm not, fine. I don't care. It's like, I'm still going to go to bed tonight and be fine. You know, however, there is a part of me that wants to encourage people to feel more, free and more able and more confident and all these different things. I thought that was well done.
Well, thank you. You can
Um,
attribute that to my therapist, Jeff, who I've paid a lot of money to.
Thank you, Jeff.
He's delightful. So, I think years of healing, years of
Yeah.
healing.
See how a therapist can help everybody? It takes a
I
while, but we get
fought it.
there.
I fought it for years.
There you go. What did you fight it
Years.
about? I'm curious, just out of curiosity.
Just I think again my attitude of like it's not working by and like I couldn't find the right person and I
Mm,
just it was like dating. It's like finding your partner. You
right.
have to go through so many and it feels and the system sucks. The system
Oh,
sucks. To
that's for
find a
sure.
therapist, it's hard. And to find a good therapist is even harder. And so I
Yeah.
think it's just this courage to just keep going. You'll find
Oh.
a good one that will help you eventually.
Well, and this is your theme throughout the day. It's like, don't stop when something doesn't work, because if you know you need something and you know it's out there, or you can at least imagine the ideal that it exists in a certain way, keep going. Guess what? You might create that fit more than, sooner than you think.
Are you going to
Oh,
stop
that's
drinking
lovely.
water because it's plain and gross? No, you have to live. So add a little Mio into it. Add a slice of lemon,
Sure,
figure it
get a
out.
LaCroix. It's fine. You could do it. Yeah. Oh, I love that. All right. So, what's coming up for you, Marco? What's on the horizon? What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about?
Oh boy, what am I looking forward to? Personally, I am planning a trip to Provincetown, Massachusetts. If anyone's ever
Ooh,
been, it's at the tip of Cape Cod, and it's this little gay mecca, and it is just the best time. I go every summer, and I have the time of my life.
oh, I
I wear
love that.
sequin caftans. I run around with martinis in my hand, and I have the best time. And like the Marco you see here, the Marco there is even more confident. It's
Oh,
wild.
I
It's
love it.
wild.
I
But on
love it.
a business note, I'm working on doing like a slight little rebrand in my social media platforms where I'll still be doing everything that I'm doing, but opening people up into my life a little more. Right now I kind of do just vintage antiques, and that is
Hmm.
a portion of my life. There's so much more that hopefully I can open people up to, keep spreading some joy, and hopefully some more laughs.
Oh, I love it. Well, I tell you what, I really feel like people that are more interested in that side of you, Marco, will get a lot out of this today.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you being open and honest. And really, I do believe I want people that are listening to hear that I, Marco has just given you a framework, truly, for how to create more of what you're looking for in your life. And it's very real. You need to have some certain little things along the way to keep you bolstered. You need that community in place, but it's all there if you listen. And I love it. So I thank you so much, Marco. Please follow him on at I Spy Antiques, EYE Spy Antiques. And I really look forward to seeing what else you got coming for us. Thank you so much, Marco.
Well, thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure being here. You've said some kind, mighty things about me, and I appreciate it. And I say to everyone, keep living life by the mantra I live. Who cares? Who cares what they think? Go on, have a good day. Who cares?
Exactly. And a very good who cares to you as well. All right. Thank you all. This has been Hopelessly Gifted. Bye.
Bye, Mark.